What is correct, I like and everyone, this is TRAILBLAZE coming back at you with another HONKAI Star Row video, and today we are doing something that I don't know if I want to call it special or not, but I feel it was needed to be something I talked about before 4.0 came out, and that is my journey from restarting the game in 3.4 up until 3.8 now. I will preface, I am actually not done with the 3.8 story yet, but you can also blame Arknight's Enfield for that a good chunk, because I kind of, instead of doing that right here, I did Enfield. Anyway, it's a different game. I'll get it done in the next 2 weeks before Plan Arcadia is out anyway. Point is, I felt like I wanted to talk about pretty much where I am with Honkai Star Rail. I do think it's going to be a mainstay of the channel. I think it'll continue to be for the foreseeable future. Unless something happens, and then, you know, maybe it won't. But until that point, we are going to be with Star Rail. Alright, so I suppose I'll just start with the characters as opposed to the story. So, I'll just go bottom to top, start with Remembrance. I like all of the Remembrance characters. Character-wise, story-wise, I like all of them. I did kind of ball out in 3.7 for them, and I mean, it went as well as it could have possibly gone, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, there were a few things where it's like, oh, it's not optimal 100%, but like, reasonably, it went as well as possible. I like all these characters, though. And 4Ace as a whole, I enjoyed a lot. We'll get to that a little more later, but I just kind of wanted to go in order of, or reverse order of the paths. So, also just wanted to show who we do and do not have, just kind of as like something of a time capsule. Abundance, we have, I mean, you guys see, we're missing Luocha, we don't have Huohuo, we don't have Lingsha. I would like to go for Lingsha, but I'm gonna be honest. Much as I love her design and her personality, it just doesn't feel worth it to go for her right now, especially with 4.0 being right around the corner. Plus all the other stuff that can happen in Plan Arcadia, we are probably going to need the extra pulls. Plus it's not even like she's irrelevant right now, truly speaking. You can absolutely use her and she'll do you quite well, right? But she's not high scene, I guess. We have other options for sustains as well, so not really necessary. Preservation, I mean, like I said, I started this account at 3.4, so only have Dan Hong. If Aventurine comes back at an opportune time, I will go for him. If he doesn't, I don't know, it's going to be decision time. But, I mean, there's not much to say. Preservation kind of sucks besides Dan Hong and Aventurine, so... I mean, I'm sure Fushuin is good as well, but I don't have her. So, can't tell you guys if I like her or not. Nihility. Dude, Nihility might be the most stacked path for me wanting to get all the characters from, because, like, besides Jiao Cho and Welt, I want every single... I want to get every single character in here. I mean, I like Welt, but, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Welt isn't really good anymore, so I don't have a reason to really get him. If he wants to pop up during a 50-50 loss... Sure, man. I mean, I already lost it. It's not like I'm gonna get anyone who I want more, really. That's like a Branya, but not the point. Ability. Boy, oh boy. I don't know what Ix is cooking with, but all the women in this path are just like... all fine, bro. Anywho. Ability, I think another thing is I like playing with debuffers a lot, so having the ability to have them be as good as they are most of the time is quite good. Harmony's next. The only one that I missed is Ceridra, but I didn't have Fine on, nor did I have an Axa at the time. So I was waiting for an opportune time for her to rerun. If Robin had come out in 3.8 or reran, I would have pulled her. She's probably one of my top 5. I mean, I would have to... I guess that's something I could do later, is just talk about my actual list of who my favorite characters are. I'll put that in the bank for later. But with Harmony, man, it's like a lot of these characters are really good. Really hard for this to go badly, I suppose. So that's all we got for Harmony. Erudition. I mean, I like a good chunk of these characters. Not all of them. Like, honestly, the only ones that I don't own here that I might like is Jade, probably. But we have an Axa, so we don't really have a reason to get Jade because an Axa is just straight up better. So, that. Now that I have Super Break up and running, maybe we'll get a Rappa copy. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a big Rappa fan, though. I'd probably rather just get more Firefly copies since she can just fight whoever the heck Rappa wants to fight anyway. Speaking of Super Break, unless they drop another single target Super Break DPS, we might actually pick up Boot Hill, despite me not really enjoying him as much as a character, but we'll see. Fei Xiao, when she comes back, 100% I want to pick her up. Like I said before, I believe E2 Archer is something I want to get before he leaves. I really hope that we're able to just keep Archer past 4.0 so I can just grab the Elation team, get them up and running, and then we can, you know, move over to getting Archer over to E2. I really hope we can, because I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, I'm really banking on the fact that Archer's going to be here past 4.0, dude. I'm sure some of you guys are tired of seeing these Fate banners, but for someone like me who has yet to really have an opportunity to get everything set up, kind of going to be really useful to have them up for longer, so hopefully they keep them. Anywho. And Destruction, you know, like, I want to get my day. I wanted to get Jingliu, but, not a good time. Plus their buffs are just not as good as they honestly probably should have been, so that's another problem. That's kind of it. So, I guess I could just overview, like, soft top 5 of my favorites while we're on the topic. So, if we're going by planet, Herta Space Station, this might be a cop-out for you guys, but I'm picking Herta. Like, Madam Herta specifically. If I have to pick, you know, Puppet Herta for Herta Space Station, I'll do that. Then for... what was next? Urilo 6. I think it's probably Branya for me. Branya's the next favorite. And then after that, it would be Sela. So like basically the two of them, but I like Branya a tidbit more. Lofu's next. Not gonna lie, I liked the Lofu, but not... I don't have like, oh my gosh, this is my Lofu character I love. I guess Fei Xiao, but then that's technically not until that was, you know, we came back to it for that. So I don't know if I want to count Fei Xiao there. If I'm allowed to count Fei Xiao there, then we put her there. If I'm not allowed to put Fei Xiao, then maybe... I don't know, actually. Maybe Jing Yuan. Oh. Jing Yuan or Ting Yun, probably. Probably. Hinokami. See, this is the crazy part, is that it's between Aventurine and Firefly for me. Sparkle has an argument here too, but I mean, it's between Aventurine and Firefly. It's kind of basically the two of them, and then Sparkle's just there. Potential other one, but Hinokami I enjoyed a lot. Then Amphorius, as much as I liked the dude's stories in that one, character-wise, I think I gotta give it to... between Cyrene and Hycelens, probably. We were allowed to count... Tribios was playable. Yeah, maybe it would be her, too. But right now, I'm thinking Hycelens is my favorite. It's like, it's Hycelens or it's Cyrene, but I'm leaning towards Hycelens because it reminds me a lot of Meltrolus from FGO, and if you guys know Fate Grand Order, gotten into Meltrolus's character, I can tell that this is Star Wars' attempt at Meltrolus, and I mean, I said they did a pretty good job, honestly, but I don't know. Honestly, they could have done a little better with their story. I think it's pretty good though. Certainly could have been worse. I've seen some of the character stories in this game, and they, Not good. All right, now I'll just talk about how I feel about the planets, and then I'll just talk about my journey after that. The journey last. So, Heard of Space Station. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I started the game initially, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's fine, it's whatever. I wasn't really feeling it. Kafka was my favorite character there by far, but you know, then I quit, and then I came back later, now in 3.4, or back then in 3.4 when that Fate collab was out. I came back for it. I'm like, screw it, I'll give it another chance. Worst case, I just don't like it. Best case, oh no, I have another gacha to play. And you guys see where we are today. So Heard of Space Station, like I said, I think the story is like, I mean, it's introductory stuff. I don't really have that much of a expectation per se, honestly, for introductory stuff. Like, I give you the benefit of the doubt because you have to set up every good story, in my opinion, needs to have, like, well written, I suppose I'll say it that way. Every well written story needs to have setup. And the only way to do that is to have an introductory segment. Sometimes, maybe it drags on for too long, but it really just depends. Another thing is I'm very vibe heavy with this stuff a lot of the time. So like, if I'm just having a good time, you can be a slow burn, and I'm just gonna have a good time regardless. But it really, I don't know. I'm a little inconsistent with this, I suppose, but generally speaking, you have to have a good introductory segment. The world build all the characters, all that stuff. And Heart of Space Station, I think it does a pretty decent job. I wasn't a mega fan of it, like I said. I stopped playing after, I think I hit Eurilo 6 on the original account that I had, and then I stopped. After, I think I beat Eurilo 6. It was either I got midway or I beat it initially, and then I quit because I'm like, I'm not feeling this. The gameplay is not really messing with me. But now, modern Star Rail gameplay, I feel like it's pretty good, honestly. It's a lot of... There's not the most amount of variation in the gameplay styles you can do, but the fact that you can do some of that is very good. I mean, I know you guys more recently, not as much Venom as there used to be, so to speak, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it's a modern gacha game. Most of the time, you need to run the meta. If you don't run the meta, you're gonna be in trouble. The fact that you can invest in characters in this game and make them meta relevant or longer, I know this is a very common thing you can do, but it feels like Star Rail has done a pretty good job, because I've peered back a little bit, right, to kind of see what it was like, what I missed, right? I mean, most of the time, most of you people aren't running anything super mega like unique anyway, right? Like, you're not gonna be, most people are not gonna be confident enough to build Zhui Yi and then run whatever support she wants to be running, or maybe you even want to run off supports for Zhui Yi. That's not her best. People do it, not a lot of y'all though. I know this for a fact. I'm sure there's a good amount of Zhui Yi players, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest, is there a lot of Herda and Firefly players, or is there going to be more Zhui Yi players? I know Herda and Firefly have gotten more focus in the stories, but Zhui Yi being a 4-star is just, you know, she's not as incentivized to build her. Anyway, a little off topic there, but back to Eurilo 6. I guess initially when we touched down, I think it's another thing. I'm not always the biggest fan of like snow levels in gaming, so this not an uphill battle per se, but I'm not a mega big fan of snow stuff in gaming. The way it looks, yeah, sure, but a lot of the time what's involved with snow and Arctic stuff in gaming is not very fun to play through. Not that Star Rail really had a problem with this, but I just wasn't the biggest fan of snow stuff to begin with in gaming. So like I said, it's maybe has to work a little harder. Story wise, I thought it was alright at launch, not bad. Certainly could have been a little better in my opinion, but I might be a little spoiled with these visual novel level games, but I mean, now that Pinakani and Amphorius over here are in the game, now we can talk about the story being really good. But up until like Hinakani, I really don't feel like the story of this game is really like anything like holy moly, this is the freaking stuff, dude. Like, it doesn't. Erda, Space Station, Eurilo 6, and the Lofu don't really speak to me on the same level as Pinakani and Amphorius. A lot of that is I feel like the world building of Pinakani and Amphorius is just straight up better. Y'all can disagree with me if you want, that's fine. But I think the worlds are concocted more, how to say, I feel like they had more love in them, and they feel more immersive to me as experiences than the other three do. I'm not calling the other three bad, but I feel like Pinakani and Amphorius do it a lot better. But the Eurilo 6, I think my favorite part of the storyline is probably Bronya just like picking up the pieces afterwards everything happened. And then she kind of just became her own woman, which, you know what? Hey, I like a come up story, you know? I thought it was good. Like I said, there's always, I think that's one thing about Star Rails, there's always little things that you can nitpick, but I mean, honestly, that's kind of how a lot of stories go. There's always something you might be able to nitpick, and in Star Rails' case, I think there's been a case for that in every single one of these stories. I'm not saying these are bad per se, but I think there are little like holes you can like poke through a little bit. But with the game as big as Star Rail, I'm sure it's not easy to write a cohesive narrative with all the stuff you got going on, you know? They did a good job overall, though. I suppose my favorite, I didn't even say my favorite part of Heya Space Station. I guess, honestly, it was kind of just meeting the Stellaron Hunters, because they're probably my favorite faction in Star Rail still. It's probably them. After them, probably the Chrysosers would be my favorite after that, but it's faction. It's not really that big a deal. Lofu, I think the world building started getting a lot better in the Lofu. Not that Eurilo 6 and Herda were bad, but I think I started feeling more immersed when I started playing the Lofu. Good story. I think, again, there's a few parts I'm kind of like, I don't know about this. Like the whole, was Tingyun really Tingyun the whole time, or was it just Fantilia? Like, I like Tingyun though. But I mean, some of the story could have been a little better. Like Bailu, honestly, as talked about as she was, I don't really feel like she got as much focus or development as she should have gotten. She kind of felt like a backline character. I guess another thing I'll talk about is I did enjoy Donna Hong's story a lot, but I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Don Hong's story in Amphorius was a lot better than the Lofu. That might be a hot take. Let me know in the comments if y'all agree or not, but I feel like Don Hong was better done in Amphorius than it was in the Lofu. I don't know if this is like, right, you know, maybe the writers get better over time or they have different writers. I'm not really sure. It's not like I've looked up this information or anything, but personally, I feel like I enjoy Don Hong Romancer Terre way more than I do in Barbator Lune. Be a hot take though. Lofu was good though. I mean, I could give them ratings, but I don't really feel like that's a thing I want to do, because it would the ratings I would be giving these planets locations would be a lot lower. Like it'd be like Pinakani and Amphorius at the top, and then everything else would be like 3 points down from them, you know. So we're not gonna do that. Pinakani, this is where I started playing, and I'm like, wow, this could actually be a game I continue to play into the foreseeable future, because world building was amazing. I like a good mystery. I liked the whole Sparkle mystery thing going on. We still don't really know that much about her, unless I'm tripping and this was said somewhere else. We don't really know much about Sparkle, and I like Sparkle a lot. If I'm right and we haven't really known that much about Sparkle, I'm sure we'll get to know her better as Spark C, but I enjoy her a lot. Firefly is probably the biggest W point I have for Pinakani. I thought she was really well written, and I feel like her motivations made sense good majority of the time. It is a little interesting how she latched onto us so hard, but I mean, honestly, someone as charismatic as the Trailblazer, someone like Firefly who feels like, you know, a bird trapped in the cage. I mean, she kind of is, right? I think I can understand why she would attach herself to the Trailblazer so hard, because, it's like a happy-go-lucky person, and then she's not happy nor go-lucky very much at all. She might portray that, but she is trying to be happier, of course, right? But when you have a situation as bad as Fireflies, I think I can understand why you would want to latch on to the Trailblazer so hard, right? Acheron. I liked Acheron a lot as well. And then, like I said, Aventurine. I think Aventurine is the thing where it's just like, wow, they really made me like a male character in a gacha game as much as a female character. I'm not saying a lot of, like, most of the time, honestly, these male characters, and at least most of the modern gacha games, they are not really that well written. They're just not. Compared to the female characters who are just given a lot more, because, I mean, most of the time, well-written female characters will sell more than well-written male characters. In Star Rail's case, that's obviously Finon, right? Finon is a case where you give the character an amazing story and they're gonna sell well, right? Aventurine was the first case of this where I'm just like, okay, wow, you actually made me like a dude in this game on the same level as the girls, because the girls have, like, for me, they have a really high, like, I don't know about leeway per se, but they have very high bar compared to the dudes. Like, the dudes have to do a lot more to make me like them as opposed to the girls. Like, and maybe it's just me being a guy talking, so I like, I like the girlies, right? I just feel like a lot of the male gacha characters are just not well written. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but the fact that Aventurine was that well written just makes me like, okay, wow. I can't believe you guys did it. There you go. Overall, though, Pinakani, really, really good. Honestly, it's in contention for my favorite story with Amphorius, though. I still haven't decided. I'll probably decide once I play 3.8. Maybe I'll let you guys know. I don't really think it matters too much, though, because it's like, it's those two, and then it's the rest. For me, at least. Now we get to Amphorius. I'll talk about the not so good stuff first. Be honest, there was too much bloat, right? There was too much. They were. This is a problem. I don't know. Okay, I don't know how often or how long you guys have been in the Mihoyo sphere or the Hoyoverse sphere. Every single story that Hoyo has ever done that I have seen or read has always had some semblance of bloat, whether it be small or large. A lot of the time, this does not add onto the story at all. This was the case with Amphorius. I understand they want us to enjoy the Chrysosers a lot, and I did. They're arguably one of my favorite factions in the game. However, why did we have to say goodbye to them 3 or 4 times? The last cutscene, it's probably a while for you guys. The last cutscene, I believe it was animated or something. They could have left us there, right? Or they could have left us off on the book. But they said goodbye to us 1 or 2 more times after that. And it felt like we said goodbye to them, like Soft said goodbye to them so many times. I'm like, I understand y'all want us to like the Chrysosers, but you gotta make it feel like they died, That's one of the big problems. If you're not, it kind of feels like they took the somewhat of a coward's way out, right? Because you killed all these characters off, but they're still existing here in spirit, so like, if they're still a part of the story, whether or not they're dead, regardless of their impact, but you're talking to them as if they're alive, why are they not just alive in the first place? I like that we actually are killing off characters now and we're brave enough to do so, but the way they did it here kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I think a big part of that is because we said goodbye to them like 4 to 5 times total, maybe even more, with just like, goodbye, Trailblazer, and then we see their spirit 2 minutes later. Maybe not 2 minutes later, but that's one of the big things that I did not like about Amphorius, and the obvious bloat. But honestly, I think this is the best written story Star Rail's ever had. I don't really know how close it is. Pinakani's the closest, but Pinakani had its own problems. Amphoria's, I think the difference, right? Pinakani had a more cohesive, concise narrative, and Amphoria's was kind of like a journey, right? The hero's journey. You can, you can say that you don't enjoy the journey. But then I would have to extend to you the question, why are you playing Honkai Star Rail where you're visiting different worlds, going on a journey every single time? But they definitely bloated this too much. Enough with that though, let's get on to the good.